You know, the worst part is I was actually looking forward to Goblin Slayer. So, I just watched the first episode of Goblin Slayer and it was really fucking bad. Very bad. But, according to the internet, that's not the important thing we should be talking about. So, let's cut the pretense. No, you're not a bad person for liking the first episode. You probably won't be invited to any group watches in my Discord, but you're not a monster for liking something, okay? Cool. Now, let's talk about why everyone has been up in arms about this. Why has it become such a thing to pitch your tent on either side of the Goblin Divide? Oh, was that a rhyme? SoundCloud.com/NineOuh kids, I'm here all week. Okay. Serious now. To me, I actually think it's less about the show itself and more about a bunch of larger shifts in nerd culture that the anime world in particular has only recently caught up with. But I'll get to that later on. First, let's talk about the big thing everybody's been bellyaching about. Rape scenes aren't new to anime. They're something of a time-honored tradition in the fantasy genre. Berserk 98 had one, I think, and I'm sure there's a few others that come to mind. First one I remember seeing was back in 2012 in the first season of Valvrave the Liberator, and by God, how far in the past does it feel that show aired. In fact, rape, or at least implied rape, is especially a staple in the isekai/video game-esque fantasy genre, which Goblin Slayer is ostensibly trying to set itself apart from. It doesn't! By trying to see if it can inject a little bit more grit to the basic formula. It can't! So, we open with 4 absolute dipshit adventurers who don't even bother getting potions, don't bother preparing, wildly underestimate the threat they're up against, and the show expects viewers to partake in the Sisyphean task of giving even a smidgen of a shit about their fates. So they get to the cave, and what happens next is probably the 5 most unintentionally funny minutes of anime I've seen in years. Like, bro, I don't even know where to start. Like, girl tries to kick dude, catches her leg in the air, throws on the ground. Wait, no. Even before that, fucking dude brings a sword that's too long when he knows he's going into a fucking cave. So he tries to swing and it stops at the ceiling and fucking the goblin just fuck him. It's, I love anime, man, but it shows bad in such a fun way. No, seriously, the sequence had me dying, laughing hysterically. In spite of all the foulness on screen even. I think it's just a mixture of the anime being super boring and by the numbers till that point, and the characters just not being very interesting in any conceivable way. Plus, I won't even lie, it gives a kind of catharsis to people who hate the new wave of video game style fantasy settings. Like, really. Those shows are usually presented with a clean and polished edge that only gets lifted when it wants to raise the stakes, but Goblin Slayer kicks into edge mode for most of the episode, so it's fairly understandable how some fans might find that refreshing. Now here's why it's trash. If you've seen Pedantic's video, you probably heard a lot of this already, but if you didn't, being dark isn't corollary to how many people die in your show, or how many women get involuntarily fucked. Adding darkness to a narrative is entirely about how the characters react to the world around them and the problems that they come across. FMA isn't dark because dudes die, it's dark because a fucking scientist fused his daughter and his wife with dogs just so he could get more government funding to do more fucked up animal-human crossbreeding research. Berserk isn't just dark because Casca got raped, it's dark because Guts had to watch Casca get raped by a guy he considered to be one of his best friends, and the event scars her to the point where she goes mute. That's darkness in narrative. What Goblin Slayer isn't dark. It's not even edgy, it's exploitative. It's exploiting our own inherent discomfort around subjects like sexual violence or just basic violence, and playing on those base feelings to engineer a response it wants from the audience. Exploiting your audience is fine, there's entire genres, nay, industries built around that. But people shouldn't run around saying putting a rape scene in your work somehow automatically separates it from its contemporaries, especially when SAO has been pulling that same fucking trick for 2 bloody seasons. But the efficacy of a rape scene in a mediocre anime isn't what any of this has been about. What's happening is what I like to call a good old-fashioned outrage beam struggle. See, something stupid happens in this or that piece of media, then people, usually women or people who aren't white, voice some concern about said stupid thing. Then there's a faction of opposing people who say that stupid thing is fine, and that the people complaining are stupid for complaining, thus leading to both sides looking like absolute children in the long run and nobody learning a damn thing. I've seen it happen in comics and games and movies, and hell, I even saw it happen like in August with that little Crunchyroll High Guardian Spice mess. And now it's happening with Goblin Slayer. Honestly, now that I'm back in the anime community for good, I'd very much prefer we went back to just, I don't know, hating every cute girls show, complaining about isekai. Can we just leave the super serious discussions alone, at least until we aren't plagued by fucking nuts? Whoa, hey! I'm not trying to alienate anybody because I'm about to pay the bills. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is made possible by me. But I can't survive for much longer without support from you. So if you feel compelled to donate to my Patreon, I deeply appreciate it. Hey, maybe I can turn this into a way more frequent series than it already is. Sayonara, minasan. Thanks for watching.